Right, let's now take you to the Clocksack Auditorium at Ministries, where former President Jerry John Rawlings is addressing the Africa Public Service Day celebration.
Happy birthday to you. We wish you long life. 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 May God bless you now. 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 Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to have His Excellency right by me to deliver this special address and to unveil the flag. Your Excellency.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. My apologies for not being with you at the start of the program. I was trying out some parachuting one time because my daughter Zanetta wanted to do it. And I thought, let me get a taste of it before she comes. And I went jumping on a day I shouldn't have. It had rained and I landed on my coccyx so badly. The coccyx is that last bone on your back. Very painful, even though it healed. Many years later, with a persistent sitting, it creates problem for me. So I have difficulties if I have to sit for a long time. Thank you. The testimonies that were given by those ladies and gentlemen were so true. And I would very much wish I'll have a few more minutes just to say a few more things. But let's get the formality out of the way. First of all, let me say a big thank you for that cake. I mean, I feel truly privileged and honored to be part of this gathering and part of this function in memory of Mr. Nathan Kwao. I'll tell you something very interesting when I'm done. Mr. Chairman of the occasion, I hear there's a Toby. And former head of the civil service, Mr. W.K. Kemavo. Yes, sir. The chief of staff, who I believe was called away. The head of the civil service, Nana Jacob Ndwamina, the head of local government service, Nana Atu Arthur, the Clocksack executive secretary, Mr. Isaac Bampo Ado, members of the Clocksack, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let me thank you, or say a big thank you to the Civil and Local Government Staff Association for once again inviting me to participate in the annual Africa. Yesterday, somebody tried to interview me and was asking what it is like to be 70. And I said, I used to get a regular headache like everybody else. But it appears when you become 70, the headache just focuses above your right eye. And all day. And also, I think your muscles slow down, you see what I mean? And I think it's led to a slowing down of my tongue as well. So occasionally I end up biting my tongue. So please pardon me. Ladies and gentlemen, it is particularly heartwarming that this ceremony is also recognizing the impeccable qualities of undoubtedly one of Ghana's greatest civil servants, Mr. Nathan Kwao. The theme for the Africa Public Service Day 2017, Nurturing a Culture of Professional and Ethical Values in Africa's Public Service, is very significant, especially at a time when standards have fallen, not only in the public service, but in most facets of our public and corporate institutional framework. With a membership of 43,000 drawn from the metropolitan, municipal, district assemblies, and even the office of the president, your role cannot be overemphasized. Can you imagine what a huge, solid pressure group you could constitute? And its negative or positive consequences. That responsibility must, however, go with a sincere commitment to sacrifice for your country and protect its interests at all times, however difficult the circumstances may be. Complaints about poor service delivery from your sector and other public sector related agencies are real and cannot be shoved under the carpet. Celebrations such as today's should metamorphose into durbas and workshops aimed at reinvigorating and inspiring members to embrace quality work ethic that can serve as a standard worthy of emulation by other sectors. It is quite disturbing, though, that we cannot compare the efficiency and productivity within the private corporate sector to that of the public service in our country. There are several underlying challenges with respect to funding and state investment in your sector, and that should not undermine a commitment to quality delivery. I speak of probity, accountability, and transparency, and I am convinced your sector cannot thrive if such standards are relegated to the background. Corruption, ladies and gentlemen, is not just the misappropriation of state funds. Our failure to commit to the stipulated 8 o'clock to 5 p.m. daily working period. Refusing to commit ourselves to official duties is a corrupting influence that sets the tone for significant institutional losses. Your theme of nurturing a culture of professional and ethical values in the service should confront these very core values that many have relegated to the background so that we can restore the standards that your forebears bequeathed to you. There is no doubt that many of you are committed patriots who pursue a culture of professional and ethical values. However, there are others who abhor these standards and drag the entire public sector in the mud. We all have a responsibility to confront these negative traits and offer true meaning to the theme of your celebration. It is thus heartwarming that this auditorium is today being dedicated to the memory of one of the best public servants I've ever worked with. That's Mr. Nathan Kwao. Mr. Nathan Kwao was not a member of the PNDC or a minister in any of our governments, but he nevertheless served as a pillar of strength and quality during the time I worked with him. When Mr. Nathan Kwao was around on your side, then you knew truth was on your side. His commitment to duty and deep knowledge was faultless and unparalleled. He was results-oriented and unfazed by the personalities he worked for. He simply wanted to achieve results and serve his country with patriotic fervor. It was thus not surprising that he served various governments and never lost favor, or respect at any point. There is no doubt that his years of service as a teacher contributed significantly to his quality in later years. And I wish many of our young graduates will have the opportunity to teach for a few years before they embrace all the professional challenges. Teaching exposes us to trials and hands-on experiences that serve as a store of lifelong invaluable wisdom. The former head of civil service, Alex Glover-Quartey, referred to Mr. Nathan Kwao as the walking encyclopedia of the castle. That simply sums up the quality of the man we celebrate today. In dedicating this auditorium to this patriot, let us take a cue from the high standards he exhibited throughout his career and create an avenue for the younger ones to emulate him. I implore CLOCSAC to maintain this facility to the high standard and ensure that copies of Mr. Nathan Kwao's biography are always available here so visitors to the auditorium will better appreciate why it is named after him. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all the best in your endeavors and hope to join you again soon to deliberate on matters of national concern. Ladies and gentlemen, at a point in time, 78, it shouldn't surprise anybody that you embarked on a national strike. As the decline started, under the Achampong period, and the pressure started building up, and some of us, being where we were, realized that if we didn't prepare ourselves to intervene, it could explode. And if it explodes, or if the officer corps lost their complete authority, I'm not saying I don't respect the ranks. Somebody way below could have taken it. And God help us, because of the animosity also that existed in the vertical ranks. It embarrasses me when I have to repeat something, but let me do it if you don't mind. When I'm talking about soldiers, trained to be a man, to fight, goes to a market, you see what I mean, and has urine thrown at him. You can imagine the hatred that would build up inside him against the person who did that. And at the general, sitting up there at the castle, whose policies and behavior and corruption has led to a situation where urine has to be poured at him. Not once, not twice, 3 times. On different occasions. For some of the younger ones who don't seem to understand why I had to order for Makola to be broken down. And I remember the officer was delaying. He didn't seem to smell. He couldn't smell the crave for violence in the air. And I said, have it done by the field engineers. No explosives, no tractors, no bulldozers. Give them sledgehammers to go and break down the edifice. In other words, I wanted them to exercise their anger on the structure and take it out on the people, the sellers. That's how come Makola was demolished when it was. Ladies and gentlemen, now let me go back. During that period before this thing, and by the way, I'm saying it was so volatile that all it needed, you didn't need troops. No troop would have followed anybody anywhere in those days, because we were all so disenchanted with each other and angry. All it needed was somebody to strike the match and throw it into the room. If I had done that on 15th May, not many would have survived. People would just have gone berserk. This is the moment they were waiting for to punish those they thought were responsible. Even innocent officers, because an officer is an officer, you see, they think we all go to the same mess, and by extension, the hatred from up there would have come all the way down. Ladies and gentlemen, if I had ignited that thing on 15 May, June 4th, a few weeks later, would not have happened. It would have happened on that 15th May. I had to change plans, etc. Change the formula immediately, degrade it, knowing very well that what I was going to do next, could end up in being arrested, etc. And that's what happened. In spite of that, what happened? The inevitability of June 4th because of the heat in the country then. I keep saying that somehow in the white man's country, amongst ourselves, years ago, when the level of social responsibility was much higher, we didn't allow pressures to build up to this extent. Somebody will be asking questions. Why is this happening? Why is this not happening? Etc., etc. But over here, when the situation becomes so corrupt, and some of us are benefiting materially, and others are suffering, I don't know whether it ends up looking as if we have special oxygen masks and we can't smell the gas on the ground, how the extent to which, the cost of living that people are suffering. Now, no, let me take just a few minutes of your time on this issue. The point I'm trying to make is, when Kukumba people, as recently as a few years ago, decided to wage war on other ethnic groups, killings, etc., grabbing children by the feet, smashing their heads against trees, etc. What caused it? It was just over what we all know, some chicken affair, some fowl. If responsible people expected would engage in this level of violence over a chicken, in effect, what does it mean? It means the temperature is not that stable. In other words, there's friction amongst the communities. Mibuada, am I lying? In other words, our lifestyle in relation to authority, the law, justice, etc., is being denied to the extent, whether in our traditional ways or in the orthodox, courthouses or the police station, people are feeling so deprived of justice that these things begin to pile up and pile up and pile up. Isn't it? And so with just that tiny little foul, whatever it was, it blows up. And that's what I mean when I say, in a civilized society, you don't wait for the gas to fill up the room. You can smell it immediately. Hey, this thing is going on here. This negativity, this corrupt act, which is leading to this and that, should be dealt with. And that is what ensures the stability of a society, of a community. But when we do away with it, all kinds of things happen. When you look at the way rubbish was being thrown anywhere and everywhere, that is how, because the society is unable to police itself effectively anymore. Why waste my time? He's enjoying up there, having a good time. So why should I be expected to be a disciplined citizen, to be a patriot, to not engage in corruption? His form of corruption is to dump the rubbish by the roadside, on the motorway, or further, etc. When you have people who've been trained the way some of us have been trained, like the Nathan Quaws, and have power, authority, to influence, to advise, and to take the advice, things of this nature wouldn't happen. But we become we don't listen anymore. We become impervious. Ladies and gentlemen, when the situation got that tight in those days, I was also scanning around. Not what you're thinking. No, I was also scanning around for people. Oh, what's his name? Ayikuyama said the beautiful ones are not yet born. I used to have a horse many years ago at the state of Birmingham that I named the Bony. The beautiful ones are not yet born. But with time, I realized when I run into people like Justice Annan, etc., I knew the beautiful ones were there. It's just that the political space does not allow people of such integrity to get on the stage. We undermine them with money politics, etc. At Champong's time, for instance, I know some of our finest officers were just posted out all over the place, put over corporations so they can also go and taint their hands and lose their moral authority, the ethical value. You've got to understand me talking, standing and talking this way, or taking us back into history. I can't talk about these. I can't come to this man's function or your function without making reference to these things. So, it became very palpable, discernible. Obviously, people could see, could hear it. You're scanning through because it's like the country was leaderless. They are there all right, but you're looking for somebody you can respect. We're looking for somebody to lead us. Can you believe, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Nathan Quaw's name was in the air? I found out, like scanning around, talking to a few people here and there. Mr. Nathan Quaw, that's the level of respect this man enjoyed. And I'll leave the rest. When we made our move, and naturally I have to find competent people. Somebody like Justice Annan. I don't know if I ever told you how I met him. Yeah, do you want to hear it? Yeah. Okay. I don't know what I was. I was either in my car or on a motorbike and near the survey department going to the Air Force Station. No, Air Force Mess. I met this elegant, but casual but elegant looking young lady by the roadside. And of course, I was attracted. Oh, no. No. No, you listen, no. There was something so captivating about this young lady. So I drew closer to her to chat her, to have a chat with her. And she was very lucid, very polite. I think I took her with me to the mess. We had a drink and I sent her home. But you know, listen, I was so impressed, I'm saying, with this young lady. I was wondering who her parents are. Not her, because she was quite young. There was something quite special, which had to come from a home. Mimale. Car for the floor. Car for the floor. Took her home, met the mother, you know, who was behind her sewing machine. Justice Annan wasn't in. I left, but I had to come back later. And those days, I mean, Justice Annan's name was there, Anibaita, etc. But around that time, I was in charge of the Armed Forces boxers. And yeah, that so-called Yokegari story. You know, no, but it's true, except that somebody got something wrong somewhere. You can ask if you want to hear it. What happened? Justice Annan, in charge of the boxing, what you call it. And we were going to stage the Armed Forces version of the World Military Games in Ghana. And there was another fight going to take place. I think I don't know whether it was Poison or whoever. And on this hot, blazing day, I went to the stadium just to go and check if seats and the rings and everything were organized properly. And there was this tall, you know, majestic-looking man in his suit, in the sun, checking the chairs and arranging the chairs himself. And I approached him and realized and heard his name, Justice Annan. This was the man, the father of that girl I gave a lift to. Justice Annan was one of the finest, you know, judges, men I had ever come across. Mr. Joe Tiasburn, my wife's father. But the beauty of this combination was that Justice Annan, incidentally, was his student. How perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, June 4th happens. The giddy-giddy was so giddy-giddy that, I mean, there was very little you could do. But when one had to come back the second time, straight away, the beautiful ones are not yet born. No, they're born, they're there. I went fishing for them. Put them together, let's go, leaders. The Justice Anans, etc. Mr. Nathan Gwao. Mr. Nathan Gwao. There was something interesting that happened, young man. The one who could fetch him for me was a certain gentleman. In uniform. I didn't want to say it. But he used to work with him also at the castle in those days. And he was speaking highly of Mr. Justice Annan, his senior, etc., etc. So I said, please, go and look for him. And set up your office. Which is what happened. Met Mr. Nathan Kwao, etc. And left it at that, and work was going on. One day, I decided to say hello to them through their office. There was this huge big table in one end of the room. Oh, in front of that huge big table was a tiny little table. And Mr. Nathan Kwao was sitting on that tiny little table in the corner. Oh, Mr. Kwao, what are you doing on this table? And by the way, who's the one using that big table? It turned out to be that junior person some time ago. You see what I mean? Who went and, hey, give me some more power. You've gone and brought your senior by far. You've sat yourself on this huge table and put the great, the great Nathan Kwao on a tiny little table in the corner. I said, no, this won't happen here. Can you believe that Mr. Nathan Kwao would not change the table? He said, oh, it's okay. It's okay. No animosity, no nothing. Mr. Nathan Kwao, it's like his table was big enough for his writing, for things he was doing. That is the humility of this great man. Maybe we should make another time. I wasn't too sure I could make it, but I'm glad I have, okay? Make another time, invite me, and I'll share all the things with you. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for this opportunity. He was a pillar of strength, solid integrity. I'm saying, wherever Mr. Paul was, if you happen to be there, then you know you're on the side of truth. Sometimes people don't understand when you're talking, when you're even trying to joke, is what I mean. But sometimes it's because of people like you. I wouldn't mind going there, you know what I mean? To help me. That's why I can see this and it.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. We are happy, we are delighted, we are glad we are in our midst.
Former President Jerry John Rawlings there, speaking at the Clocksack Auditorium. And this is where we wrap up today's bulletin of Joy News today. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Daniel Daze. Keep watching Joy News.